Dan won the argument. He proved his point. He had the receipts, and the whole room knew he was right. So why did he sit in his car for 20 minutes afterward, too drained to drive home? Why did the victory feel like a beating? If you have ever won a fight and still lost the day, if you replay arguments in the shower a week later, then something is going on that nobody ever explained to you, and it is not about the argument. Dan is 52, operations manager, good at his job, and he has a boss who runs meetings like demolition. Every time the boss blew up, Dan defended himself. Every time he defended, it escalated. He'd leave with his head pounding, be short with his wife at dinner, and lie awake at 2 a.m. drafting comebacks he'd never send. The fights were costing him more than the job was paying him. And here's the strange part. The harder he fought back, the more often the attacks came. But there was a woman on his team, Maria. The boss went at her too, and it just didn't land. She'd nod, stay level, respond like they were discussing the weather. The boss would run out of steam and move on to someone who'd give him a fight. Same boss, same attacks, completely different result. Dan used to think she just didn't care. He was wrong. She knew something he didn't. Dan tried everything the internet sells you. Ignore it. Doesn't work. Bottled anger still burns you from the inside. Stand up for yourself. Makes it worse. Now it's a war. He even tried going gray and silent, and that failed too, because inside, he was still fighting. And that's the detail everyone misses. It doesn't matter what your face is doing. If you're fighting on the inside, you're in the fight. So the question isn't how to win these battles. It's why you keep getting pulled into them. The answer came from an unexpected place. A framework by a Russian physicist named Vadim Zeland. He described something you felt 1,000 times but never had words for. Picture 2 tuning forks. Strike one, and the fork across the room starts humming all by itself. But only if it's tuned to the same note. That's resonance. You cannot be reached by a note you're not tuned to. And here's the uncomfortable part. An attack can only drain you if something in you is humming along with it. Because here's what conflict actually runs on. It's a 3-line script. I provoke, you react, I feed. Every angry reply, every defense, every silent, seething commute home is fuel. That's why Dan's boss got louder the harder Dan fought. The fighting wasn't a problem for the boss's tirades, it was the point of them. Resistance is food, and Dan had been catering the buffet for years. Zeland gave the defense a name, the energy shell. Imagine a boundary around you that attacks bounce off of, as long as you stay tuned to your own note. Nothing outside you can breach it. Nothing. Only one thing opens a hole, and it opens from the inside. The moment you decide this attack is enormously important. Importance is what tunes you to their note. And the move that seals it, the one move no attacker ever expects, Zeland called extinguishing. You don't block the punch. You agree with it. Dan's test came on a Tuesday. The boss storms in. These numbers are garbage. What are you people even doing? Every muscle in Dan wanted to fight. He had 3 defenses loaded and ready. Instead, he looked the man in the eye, completely calm, and said, "You're right. They're low. Here's what I want to do about it." And the boss stopped, blinked. The energy had nowhere to go. There was no wall to hit. He mumbled, "Fine, get on it," and walked out. 30 seconds. An attack that used to eat 30 minutes and a whole evening was over in 30 seconds. Now understand what Dan did not do. He didn't grovel. He didn't agree that the work was worthless or that he was. He accepted the one true fact on the table. The numbers were low, and move straight to action. You cannot be threatened with what you have already accepted. Agreement isn't surrender. It's cutting the fuel line. A fire doesn't lose to a bigger fire. It loses to water. 6 weeks later, Dan's evenings belonged to him again. Not because the boss changed, he didn't, because Dan stopped funding the show. And that's the real prize here. All the energy he'd been spending on battles came home, and for the first time in years, he had enough left over to steer his own life instead of just defending it. So here's the practice, and it's yours, free, starting today. It's called the Yes Drill. For the next 3 days, whenever anything goes wrong, your first inner word is yes. You spill the coffee, yes. The meeting cancels, yes. Someone snaps at you, yes. Then respond from calm. You're not approving of the problem, you're refusing to feed it. And once a day, when something hooks you hard, ask yourself one question. Why did that one land? You'll start to see your own open doors, and that's the beginning of closing them.
I spent years winning arguments that were quietly costing me everything. So Dan's story is mine too. Maybe it's yours. Tell me in the comments, which hook gets you fastest, anger, fear, or other people's opinions? I read every one of them, and I answer. A like genuinely helps more people find this. And if someone came to mind while you watched, share it with them. It might be the conversation that changes things.
To see how deep this goes, my free 12-minute video shows you the whole picture. free.realitylifeline.com, link below. Dan stopped wanting things to change. He stopped hoping. He started intending. So here's how we end every video around here. I do not want or hope. I intend. I'll see you there.